Hey, what's up guys, Bajheera here. And now I don't normally do duel videos just because I don't really like to duel all that often, but on the MOP beta right now, dueling is a good way to test out your own new abilities and see how your class lines up with other classes, and of course get a feel for and some knowledge of what other classes get as well. So I did some duels the other day on the MOP beta, and I thought I'd bring these out for you. I'm pretty sure that I win most of these duels, and hopefully people don't mind being like, oh, I want to see some losses, but a lot of times losses are just because, you know, goofy stuff happens or I run out of cooldowns, because of course I'm not really going to wait for cooldowns between these duels because I don't really have time for that. I'm trying to play a video game here. And, you know, you don't really need to wait for cooldowns to learn about other classes, and it also forces you to use your own cooldowns in their most utility efficient ways. So anyway, these first couple duels are against mages. Some of the things that I can tell you about mages, and pretty much any caster in general, is just to make sure that you use all of your CC to prevent them from casting as much as possible. A lot of times now I see that casters don't actually have to, like, cast a channeled cast. So what you have to do is just use your blanket lockouts and your stuns and your fears as much as possible to prevent them from even getting instant casts off. And then, of course, you have your charge, your pummel. If you have it gag ordered, then you can make it so that it's a blanket silence, your heroic throw, your shockwave, and then your preventative things, of course, are like fear. You just keep them from getting anything on you. And whenever you don't have a lockout or a silence or a stun, throw up your spell reflect just to keep any damage off of you. So right here, I get bursted by this mage immediately. So I'm going to start popping my defensive cooldowns, some rallying cry, some shield wall, to try to get myself back in the game. I do have a second wind, so if I get really low health, I do get a pretty strong passive regen. So if you do get low, be sure to pop your defensive cooldowns and you'll probably be able to stay in the game. Right here I get down to 3,000 HP. I'm going to trinket his Dragon's Breath, pop die by the sword, which gives me a 20% damage reduction in general, and I'm able to get to execute and win the duel. So this is a duel against a warrior. Your playstyle will change a little bit depending on what the other warrior has chosen for their talents. If they choose Dragon Roar, basically all you're going to trinket is the Dragon Roar, unless you want to trinket a Disarm, because right now your set bonus does not give you the Disarm duration reduction. But anyway, it's a lot of times going to be like dueling another warrior. Make sure you are the more aggressive warrior. Pop your cooldowns earlier, because that's going to force them to sort of match your cooldowns. As you see, we both pop die by the sword at the same time. And when your opposing warrior pops die by the sword, use either a charge stun or a shockwave, some sort of stun on them, because then you basically negate their die by the sword, aside from the damage reduction. But if you stun them in the die by the sword, you can hit them, because you can't parry while you're stunned. So that's pretty much all I can suggest from that. But yeah, as a warrior, I've always sort of thought that being the more aggressive warrior will win you the duels. So pop your cooldowns earlier than they do, and play their cooldowns well, and you should be fine. It's just interesting. If they're going to use Dragon's Roar, basically just trinket the Dragon's Roar. Be sure you don't get blown up by that. But also, if they're using Dragon's Roar, make sure that you don't get below 100k health, or they'll just hit you for 100k with the Dragon's Roar and cooldowns. Anyway, this is up against a Rep Paladin. Now keep in mind that these guys, you know, they're probably all getting used to their class at level 90, so they may not be like the absolute best Rep Paladin they're ever going to be at this point, because, you know, they gotta figure out their class. So against Rep Paladin, basically just Rep Paladin duels in general. You can use some silences if you want to prevent them from healing themselves when they get low health. But here's another warrior duel. I'm just going to charge each other and just square off. As long as you're the more aggressive warrior, you know, make sure that you get your stuns first, and because if you charge them, they're not really going to be able to have range to charge you unless you let them get away from you. And then if you're going to be able to get charge stuns on them, then you're going to be in a much better position to burst them down, prevent their cooldowns, and use yours. So here he's going to pop his die by the sword. I'm going to try to hop away and charge him, because I can see that he's getting some cooldowns up. Get him in a shockwave. Burst him while he's got Wreck up. Although Wreck does not make you take more damage now, which is pretty cool. He has an execute range, which pretty much means the duel is over. As long as he doesn't parry it. She parries it right there. Charge, stun, execute. It's all good. Yeah, I'm not a huge, super epic dueling master. I don't super enjoy duels just because I feel like they can, I don't know, they go either way. Although, when you're on the beta and there's nothing else to do, might as well duel to find out what other classes got. I get caught in a deep freeze here. I'm going to trinket that and charge his next cast. With a mage, I feel like warriors have a little bit more ability to beat a mage, just because you have so many silences, and you have double reflect, double silence, a fear on a shorter cooldown, and of course your best friend is Avatar. Avatar makes it so you cannot be CC'd for a solid, I think it's 10 whole seconds. It used to be 20, but it makes it so you can't be CC'd for 10 seconds at least, and makes you do a lot of damage. I get a pretty lucky spell reflect right there. I reflect his pyroblast. I was just throwing it up as a blanket. Like, I'm calling it a blanket spell reflect because I'm not actually reflecting anything. I'm just trying to sort of fill the gap in my CC. But luckily I catch a pyroblast, and that puts him way behind in the duel. This is up against a monk. Now I've seen some really badass monks and some monks that sort of getting the feel for their class, and they're both pretty cool. They have neat mechanics. As you can see here, he's going to start absorbing and parrying just about everything I do to him. So they have lots of interesting defensive mechanics. If you guys are having trouble against monks, there's two things that I would recommend to you. One, don't touch them when they have Touch of Karma up. It'll do like a ridiculous retail damage to you and probably kill you. And Zen Sphere, it's kind of like Earth Shield. For them, it does damage to you and it heals them. So if you want to try to either kite their first Zen Sphere, or whatever the fuck it's called, and then charge and pummel and block out and silence them so they can't get one of them on. So Zen Sphere is going to heal them a bunch and hurt you a bunch, so you just want to try to control that. And it is a silenceable cast, so you can pummel it and heroic throw it and stun it, all that, just keep it off. And that might give you a chance, but otherwise just treat it like another melee. Try to stun them often, be the more aggressive player, and kite their cooldowns if you have to. I hate kiting as it works, makes me feel like a pansy, but you know, if you're trying to win a duel, that's what you gotta do. Here I'm checking out what he's got to make him absorb and parry so much. But you know, it's all part of the deal. Learn other classes. This paladin's gonna pop wings, so I'm gonna stun him immediately. He trinkets the stun, so here's what I'm gonna start doing. I'm gonna start kiting him. Try to stay away from all those melee attacks. And of course, if you disarm people on beta, it's usually going to be a full disarm, so it's kind of funny. I'm just kiting him around, making sure I stun his cooldowns. Do not want to let him do a bunch of damage to me while his wings are up. There's a shockwave there because I'm a boss. Trinket something, I'm not sure if there's a stun. Paladins have stuns, and they have just a disorient effect that they get just from talents. It's right there. But I have cooldowns popped right now, so it's not going to do a lot of damage to me. I have Die by the Sword and Shield Wall popped. Not interested in taking damage from his cooldowns. Want to make sure I win the duel. Now this is against that same monk, but he's got a healing spec now. Trying to show you, I was able to beat healing monks before, but they have some really neat stuff. They can do a lot of damage to you as well. But monks, they have disarms, they have stuns, so they're a pretty utility-rich healing class right now. So all these duels are, I mean, you'll get a feel for how warriors do. In general, I'm feeling pretty good about warriors. We have a lot of good damage, but we always have done pretty good damage, I feel like. The biggest change for me is our utility. Our mobility is about the same, although I have glyphed Heroic Leap to have it be a 30-second cooldown, which is very nice. But our utility is awesome. We've got a 1 minute cooldown on Fear. We've got 2 silences in Pummel and Heroic Throw. We've got a stun on a 20-second cooldown, which is Shockwave. We've got 2 spell reflects for our whole team. Our defensive cooldowns have changed a little bit. We don't have regen anymore, but we have, I don't know. Regen was really cool, but I think having a parry mechanic for melee and a just damage reduction in general, in case we have some dots on us, is really nice. Our second wind is very strong. If you drop below 35% health, it will heal you for a bazillion. So if you do get below 35% health, that's a good opportunity for you to either pop some defensive cooldowns if you can't get away from the fight, or start to kite a little bit, and that regen will bring you right back into the fight, especially if you've got something like Rallying Cry up. But yeah, guys, we're going to finish off this monk. All in all, warriors are looking very, very good in beta. I mean, you guys have seen the clips of me executing for like 300,000 damage, and that like freaks everybody out. But you know what? Execute's supposed to fucking kill people. All in all, warriors looking good. We've got a lot of utility, good damage. I think that we're going to be a class that is actually a class to be taken seriously, instead of the, you know, I feel like pretty much the whole duration of Cataclysm, warriors have been pretty laughable as a whole class, but we're looking really good, guys. Hope you enjoyed the video. Probably going to be bringing out tons more Mists of Pandaria content, maybe even some more dueling. I don't normally do duels, but hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. Peace!